Hey Silver, how you doing? It has been failing. It has been failing, yes. Yes, and all those people in cryptocurrency land have pretty much been aware of this for some time now. It's kind of nice to see it actually happening. What can happen is you have this, you kind of see something in the charts, and like I said, your expectations and your opinions don't mean anything. So, and I understand this. So what happens is I'm like, am I wrong about this? Is this not ever, not going to happen? So, like I said in my videos, the longer these things drag themselves out, the less likely they are to occur. But this thing kind of came to a nice head if we, I guess they, check this out here, guys. Boom. So what we have is we have a pretty clear symmetrical triangle that happens to, coincide with this trend line here. And we waited to the very last minute almost, and then it decided to break. I'm actually kind of happy it broke during U.S. market hours. It typically doesn't do that, as you guys know. China likes to be the one to sell it off. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens. No iota, no anything, no anything. Yeah, so I would like to see this crash pick up steam. So I know I think you just mentioned Bitcoin 1200, I think. Oh no, it was a comment. I saw a comment somewhere about Bitcoin 1200. So go rewatch that video even if you've seen it. Go ahead and rewatch it so you can kind of actually get the scenario of what could happen here. Let's take a look at it. It's kind of see going downward. Kind of what could. Oh, this is Ethereum. There's Bitcoin. Okay, so we know there's definitely a possibility to come back and retrace to this 3,000. That's a pretty deep sell-off. I don't know if this is going to hold at the 3,500 level. We'll just kind of have to wait and see if we can get some support down here. But it's a pretty decent sell-off at this point in time. So let's see if we have... Yeah, it's a pretty decent sell-off with really most bars closing towards lows with good volume. So we may form a head and shoulders right here. That could be a possibility. Looking at the 4-hour chart here, guys and gals. Any girls in the chat room? Any ladies in here? Stratus. I'm assuming it's going down 10%. What about it? You have a specific question about Stratus, or do you want me to tell you that it's going down? And tethered half my Bitcoin at 3,700. That's a good move, Jacob. I believe that is a good move. Is there anyone in here that thinks of themselves as a hodler? Anyone here that views themselves as a hodler? Nobody? Okay. Try to stack coins in 2013. I've learned a lot, though. I do, but I want to get better at doing some swing trades. Used to be very difficult to hold. Perfect. Guys, I've been thinking about doing a hodling video. I think I'm going to do it today, probably towards the end of my work day today. I'll take some time and do that. I don't want to trash hodlers, but I have a firm suspicion. That a lot of hodlers will be the ones that end up creating the bottom in the market when they sell. And I just want people to think about that and think about your mindset and see if this sounds like you, and to see if maybe you can get some perspective and see if you actually are a true hodler, or if you're like, you know what, maybe in the end I'm not, and I need to reevaluate how I'm doing this. Because in my eyes, if you're telling me you're going to hold on for dear life, that tells me that my Bitcoin 1200 video shouldn't have scared you. It should have actually got you excited that you're going to buy more Bitcoin at 1,200, even if you just got in at 4,500. So that's kind of, I think that's what I want to address with this hodling video. So looks like a lot of you kind of view yourselves as some holders. So I think I'm going to do that video. Question is, how long can altcoins fall into the abyss? Isn't that enough? What if Bitcoin drifts to 1200? The altcoins should scrape the ground hard. Is that possible? It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. So, okay, this is an unprecedented market. Let me just start out by saying that this is an unprecedented market. We are in uncharted territories. The stock market didn't necessarily, run up like mad and then all of a sudden crash overnight. And that being said, it did crash in 1929 quite hard, and much harder than most people can see or wanted to see or could even foresee. And you've seen the pictures. If you guys haven't seen the pictures of the guy selling his car, 1929 crash, selling car. Let's see if that picture comes up. Yeah, here this is an epic image of a guy trying to sell his car after 1929. So $100 will buy this car, must have cash, lost all on the stock market. So if you guys are unfamiliar with the 1929 crash, the stock market lost just, I think it's like 70% of its value. I actually forget the statistic, but there were no buyers around. The stock market was not regulated like it is today. Today, if the markets move down a certain percentage, they have what's called a circuit breaker, which is where they stop trading. We don't have this in cryptocurrencies. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to give you the lay of the land. You don't need to, but you need to be informed as to what has happened in the past in open markets. And crypto is a very open market. So yes, altcoins can scrape the ground. And until it gets to zero, a 2-cent coin can still go to 1 cent and give you a 50% loss. So it is quite a bit. There is quite a bit of downside possible in this market. That being said, this market will bottom at some point, and it will go up at some point. Don't get it twisted. I have a firm belief in that. This is not exactly like the stock market crash of 29, nor is it. I wanted to show you that just to kind of show you the worst case scenario. People are thinking it can't get any worse. It can always get worse, and you have to be prepared for that. And if you're a hodler, that's what I'm trying to get through is, are you really a hodler? Do you mind if your money goes to, if you invested $5,000 and if you bought one Bitcoin at $5,000, what are you going to do if it's at 1,000? What are you going to do? So you just have to be prepared for that. Now, right now we're far from that, okay? I don't want to put the fear of God in anyone. I mean, we're still at 3,600 on Bitcoin. We're above this 3,000. It's not going to crash tonight on you to 1,200. That is not going to happen, okay? I'm like 99.9% sure that's not going to happen. But if you have positions and you're nervous and you're thinking, do I sell here? Do I hold here? What do I do? You need to have a plan in mind. You need to, okay, how am I going to feel if this thing gets to $3,000? How am I going to feel down here? You need to run through that scenario in your mind to see if you're going to panic sell. And I'll be honest with you, you don't know if you're going to panic sell until it's at 3,000. Your emotions, at least for me, my emotions creep up on me until they're at a very rapid clip, and then I just do things. Okay, so everyone's different. There's some people that are more even keel that have a plan in mind, but I think most people are in between. They're just a little undecided. So, should I sell my IOTA and wait to buy it lower, or should it correct itself soon? I don't like knowing what I don't know what to do now. So yeah, Avia, that's a very valid emotion. That is perfectly natural. It's human nature. Trading is human nature at its most raw, in its most raw form. It's just pure emotions. You can't, you have to hit the button and do something, okay? And there's no middle ground. So you have these massive emotional swings. And let's look at IOTA again and just kind of see what's going on here. Yeah, personally, I would consider selling at this point. Let me look and see. So we see quite a bit of volume here selling. We don't see any purchasing volume as of yet. So it appears as if it's going lower. We did cross that 50 level. I would have considered either this 54 level, 55. I think I mentioned this in a live stream or video before. this would have been my sell point up here, or the cross of 50, because so think about this, right? You're only down 4%, 5% from the $50 level, 50-cent level, I'm sorry. So, you know, if you want to use, you need to pick a metric and stick to it. You need to have a plan. You need to have a plan. And you guys that say you're hodling and you're panicking now, you don't have a plan. And you're not hodlers. You're not hodlers. You're not going to hold on for 3 years, because if you're panicking now, you are going to be panicked out of your mind if this thing goes down another 30%. You're just going to be panicked. So change your mindset from I'm a hodler to, hey, I'm a trader and I need to adjust my mindset. Okay? And if it takes you going all cash, you know, if it takes you going all cash, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And that's healthy, because you can gather your emotions, you can gather your thoughts, you can watch the market, and yeah, you can regroup, and that's important. That's important to be able to do that. And someone said they're not panicking, but it does get stressful. So there you go. You know, if you're not panicking but you're stressed, just keep evaluating your position. If you have a plan, stick to your plan. Now, I'm not going to get into involved, do you have a valid plan? Because that's another argument. Because trust me, you can't have a valid plan until you've had your ass kicked several times. It's impossible to have a valid plan unless you've had a decent amount of losses. And that's why I recommend, and I said before, trade with parts, trade with a part of your account. Don't trade with your full account. Right? If you've got a $10,000 account and you're brand new to the markets, trade with $1,000. Trade with, actually it's cryptocurrency, trade with $200. Trade with $200 and see how you do. If you're profitable with that $200, bump it up to $1,000. If you're still profitable with $1,000, bump it up to $3,000, bump it up to $6,000, then invest in the full 10. But you need to come up with a good plan and trade the plan. We can speak about Ethereum. This is the last time Bitcoin will reach 3,600. Are you saying that it's going to bounce off 3,600 and we're going higher from here? Because as of right now, the charts do not indicate that. Yeah, we can talk about Ethereum. You know, if you guys have specific questions, please ask me specific questions, because you just say talk about Ethereum. It's, you know, my talk about Ethereum is probably going to be the same as talking about most of these coins at this point. We're in a downtrend. That downtrend has resumed at this point. We were at a pause up here. The downtrend has since resumed. If you have positions, you need to see if you're going to sell them or if you're going to hold them. If you plan on holding them, do you have an exit point? Is your exit point this 240 low? Is your exit point this 200 low? What is your exit point? You don't want to panic sell. If you panic sell, that's probably going to be at a very extreme bottom, and you're going to get into a pattern of whipsawing and over trading and chop your account up more than you need to. So if you have a position and you want to get out and you're thinking about getting out, you know, this isn't extraordinarily bullish price action. Even in terms of this bounce right here, this little consolidation, it basically had no higher highs in the consolidation and then just failed again. So it's hard to say exactly where we go from here. We do have this low here at 240. We have another low at 202. So we just kind of have to see where we go. But if you have positions, if you want to wait for a bounce to sell, that's okay. That's okay, but you have to understand we can go much lower before you get a bounce of any meaning. Is it a good time to play short? You're probably, if you are interested in shorting, this is a little long. I'm sorry, this is a little deep to get short, in my opinion. I actually chatted with a buddy last night, and I told him, hey, now was a good time to short. That buddy was a node investor, and you can ask him if I said that. I did. Not saying I'm a soothsayer and I know everything, but you short when it's not apparent to short. So right now it looks like it's apparent to short, but it hasn't broken too far, but we still could bounce up into this trend line. So there is a possibility for some short-term losses. In my opinion, overall, we're going lower. So if you want to short, I say, take half of the position that you were initially thinking. What is a good buy-in for Omisego? Not here, Yogesh. Not here. I'm not even going to pull the chart up. It will hit when China governor will renew. I think at this point, to be honest with you, the momentum in the market isn't really news-based. The momentum at this point is becoming fear-based, so news doesn't mean anything. And that's what you're seeing in the market. The market gets to a point where news is irrelevant and it's just strictly panic selling. We're not quite there yet. Bitcoin, when Bitcoin hit 3,000, it definitely was in a panic sell mode. But it actually was in a panic sell mode a little bit before then too, because it really was just rumors coming out and then people were just selling on anticipation. That's a form of panic selling. So Bitcoin Jedi says, I could have heard it goes down to 13.13 for my investors. Bitcoin Jedi, check out my 1200 video, my Bitcoin 1200 video. I talk about a possible low in Bitcoin going down to 1200, and I lay out the case for it. So check that out. Check that out, guys. Please, if you like the live stream, please go ahead and like it so we can get ranked on YouTube. That would be great. I would greatly appreciate that. And subscribe if you haven't already. You know, we talk about good market action. I try to keep you guys updated as best I can. And yeah, that's that. Do I think Bitcoin will drop to 2,500 when the China governor will renew? I generally don't place targets unless the charts imply them in some way, shape, or form. We did call Bitcoin 3,000 pretty much on the nose, and we've been calling that for about a week before it did it. But the reason we called it is because the chart implied that kind of movement. So I didn't. What's up, Frederick? How you doing, buddy? We didn't call Bitcoin 3,000 because I had a feeling it would go to 3,000. We called Bitcoin 3,000 because the charts implied it. And we base, you know, at Real Crypto here, I really try to keep this channel based on facts and focus and charting. So yeah, so let's zoom out. Let's get a bit of a wider picture here of Bitcoin. So we have this prior high at 3,000. This is going to be a pretty major level of resistance. We may bounce off the 3,000 if we do that if we head lower from 3,000. I'll be honest with you, 3,000 could be a nice bottom. Could be another nice bottom. There's really good volume here. But that being said, at the same moment in time, you know, if we look at this consolidation over here, and I don't think we're in this kind of a consolidation, I think we go lower, but we had this big shakeout before we had a big large bounce, which we have the same thing here, a big shakeout before a big large bounce. We're coming down, we get some weakness, we make a higher low, we make another higher low. So let's look at this. This is a possible future for us for the next little bit here, maybe a week or so. So maybe we form a pattern like this, an inclining trend line. We have an inclining trend line here, meaning a series of higher lows. At the same time, we also have a series of lower highs right here, right? So here's a nice symmetrical triangle in Bitcoin, and this was broken to the downside with some overall bearish action. Now, I think we also have overall bearish action, but we could end up in a situation where this doesn't necessarily break down super hard, but it does come down to a low, bounces up, tests this trend line again, and then maybe fails or gives us another higher low. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens. But these markets generally don't go straight down. Like, this is a pretty straight down movement from this 4,300 down to this 3,000. I mean, that was, you know, I think I was live streaming during a majority of that movement. And by a majority, I mean like here, at a couple of points. We were asleep for this one, but I think we were also streaming down here at 3,400. So if you want to look at the history books, you can check out the live streams. So we've been on this, and we've been on top of this during the pullback with this massive volume. So we need to see if this massive volume comes into play again, or if we get these more benign pullbacks. So this volume kind of looks more like this moment in time. If you notice, we don't have this crazy high volume. We have this volume that sits a little bit lower. And so we may be in a position where we get a nice bounce, a consolidation, and then we get a crash on big volume. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Frederick, you know, I mentioned taking a short break, buddy. That's a good thing to do. It's really nice to sit in cash and kind of watch the carnage. All right. At the end of the day, it's all a guessing game. So, Sebastian, you do have a point. It is all a guessing game. But at the same time, we can make really well-informed guesses. That's all I'll say about that. We can make well-informed guesses. And you have to guess with your money. So Bitcoin takes altcoins down, Spacebird. Pretty much, it does do that. Metropolis coming. It is coming. I don't know if we get in a panic sell mode, I don't think Metropolis is even a factor. What is my opinion on the altcoins beginning to fall? Not from the Bitcoin ATH, but from the first peak of 3,000. I got to reread that channel. I'm a little unclear on what you're asking right there. Should I sell my remaining Zcoin? Let's look at Zcoin, Frederick. I actually haven't checked on that since I sent you that email last night, buddy. Oh, Zcoin still up 4%. I don't know if you sell there. Maybe give it to the low. Give it to this 10.25 level. Maybe sell then. It still has a series of higher lows. So maybe if it gets up here, you sell it if it gets towards 12 again, or if it gets down below like 10.25. I mean, pick your poison. If you want to sell with a profit, kind of sell up. It looks like it could chop around in these wide bars. So if it gets up towards 12, consider selling it. Or if it gets below 10.25, I would consider that move possibly over. So what do I see as Omise go for the next month or so? You know what, buddy? When the market is going red like this, you can't forecast a month. No forecasting is going to help you. No forecasting is going to help you. I don't think I've seen you before, so maybe I'm trying to think of a good video to point you to that would kind of talk about when is a good time to get into a coin and when is not a good time to get into a coin. Number one, I really don't like buying in a downtrend. So I guess I'll go over that real quick. When is a good time to buy a bottom, right? When's a good time to buy a bottom? So let's go ahead and zoom out in Bitcoin here. So you can buy bottoms when the market is in an uptrend. So here's an uptrend in Bitcoin. So off of this 3,000 level, boom, we popped up higher and we had a nice little sell-off. That's a nice bottom to buy because you have an uptrend in place, okay? And then we go up higher, and then you have a panic sell. That may be a good time to buy, okay, because we're in an uptrend. And then we go up and chop around a little bit. Then we go low and test this, and we undercut it. You know, if you want to be really aggressive, that may be a good time to take a small position. But when it breaks above this level again, this is a great area to buy up here. So you want to buy during uptrends. You don't want to accumulate lows during downtrends. That is a loser's game. Prescott, Robert, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I think we've chatted in the past. Nice to see you here again. Thanks for stopping by. My thoughts on Pay. Well, last time I saw Pay yesterday, it was looking horrible, and I'm assuming since the sell-off, it's probably looking more horrible. Down 17%. Bad. It's just bad. Don't buy bad. Buy good. Don't. Guys, I'm gonna do an educational series for you guys. It's gonna be on my website though. Unfortunately, I've got to try to make some of my time back. I know Pay is good technology. I know Pay has a good product. I know they're going through a rough patch right now, but they're sitting at lows and the market is selling off. So you don't want to put any money to work right now. So OMG, I'll go ahead and look at OMG, down 13%. So a second thing about Omise Go here is I've said this in a few videos already, and I do tend to repeat myself. This is because, you know, new people see the videos, new people join the channel, and they haven't heard this before. So excuse me if you've heard this before. Omisego's had a 2,500% run up from down here to the top. 2,500%. That is a ton. That means your $100 is worth $2,500. Okay? Moves like that need to consolidate. They need to rest. Nothing moves like that forever. Nothing. I've seen plenty of 10, 20 baggers. I've seen all kinds of stocks do all kinds of things. One thing that is for certain, stocks that make massive moves need massive rests. They need to rest for a long period of time. And when you go from very tight constructive action, which Omisego had, we had I have a video where I talk about Omisego, symmetrical triangle, symmetrical triangle, symmetrical triangle, symmetrical triangle, and then we had another symmetrical triangle forming up here until we didn't, and it kind of broke that symmetrical triangle pattern. But when you go from very, very constructive action to very choppy, destructive, wide, and loose action, that is a negative. As much as I like Omisego, as much as you like Omisego, take it off your watch list. Wondering what people's thoughts are about SNGLS and them airdropping Omisego with the next 24 hours. What is SNGLS? So Maztec, when the market's in a sell-off, the only thing that's going to affect the market is the sell-off. Unless you have some extraordinary news event that comes out of the blue. I mean, if it's a news event that is already out in the news and people know about it, they're going to trade on it as soon as they become aware of the news. They're not going to wait for the event to happen. So don't ever trade anything based on, oh, Ethereum's going to have a fork and it's going to be on the 30th and it's been out for 3 months, but somehow it's going to move on the 30th. That's not a thing. James, first time here and new to coin, so on the sidelines at the moment. James, welcome. Welcome, James. James, I've been waiting for people like you to join my channel so I can stop you from getting your butt handed to you in the markets. So yes, definitely on the sidelines, watch. Go back and watch some of my videos. And, you know, I do have a lot of good information regarding, you know, when to buy, when to accumulate positions. This is not the time to accumulate positions. This is the time to accumulate cash. And this is the time to learn. This is the time to learn. Nope, no thoughts on SafeX, Frederick. Unless you tell me you see good price action, I'm not even going to look at it, buddy. This is the time to give out like really good advice to people to stop them from blowing up their accounts. How to avoid the fear of missing out. So that's a very valid question and a very valid emotion. So you actually just kind of nailed one of the hardest thing that traders have, and it's the fear of missing out. It's also you know, panic selling and fear of missing out. So how do you avoid that? So number one, if the overall market is dropping precipitously like this, if everything is tanking, you should have a fear of losing your money. You shouldn't have a fear of missing out. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is there's always another trade. There's always another trade, guys. This is the thing. So, and I've had to, and I still have to remind myself on this. I still have the same emotions you guys have. I've just lost so much money based on those emotions that I've decided to not let them do that to me anymore. And I've decided to trade off a rational basis. And if I get emotional, I recognize that in myself, and I can go ahead and I can do the opposite. Or I can just freeze and hold and say, okay, what am I actually doing here? What is the market actually doing here? And how should I logically approach this? You know, look at the chart rationally, right? Look at what's happening. Look at prior support levels, okay? There's all kinds of things you can do, but to avoid the fear of missing out, in a downtrend like this, you should have a fear of missing your money. If you missed a breakout like this in Bitcoin, going back here over the 3,000 level back in, looks like August 4th or 5th or so, this is where the fear of missing out should get you into a position. This is where the fear of missing out should get you out of a position, if you have a position. So you should have a fear of missing your money. FOMM, we'll just call it FOM. Fear is also a good kick in the ass and in life too. Yeah, it is, but you know, fear in life can actually save your life. Fear in investing can actually cost you a ton of money. Oh, good price action, Frederick. Maybe I'll check that out. Tono, you're welcome. You know what? I'm always here to slap you guys in the face in a very constructive manner, and I'm serious about that. I have gone on a couple of rants every once in a while. Nothing too expletive, but really just lessons that people have these preconceived notions about the markets, and I'm here to tell you some of those are false. In fact, 90% of those are false. And you need to be slapped in the face so you don't lose your money. Okay, Frederick said there was some good price action in a coin, SafeX. Let's look at it with trepidation. $21%. I'd avoid it. Based on the overall market bearishness right now, plus the fact this just had a huge shakeout, it came all the way back into any kind of possible base up here, I would just avoid it. Just stay cash. Just enjoy watching the carnage. Enjoy watching the market. But yeah, I would really avoid any positions right now. They can just sell off at any time. Like if you did get in on this coin at this 9 level, and you had it pop up on you, it just shook you out twice really quickly. So yeah, I mean, I would avoid it. It may go up. Don't get it twisted. It may go up. It could get up here to 13 if you're really if you really want to trade that badly. Take a small position and maybe play it for a trade. But I'm not going to do that. I don't want that much mental overhead. I'd rather just keep it. I want a clear mind. So if the market does have this is why I want a clear mind. Check this out. If this market comes up and panic sells and gets to 3,000, I want to have the frame of mind where I have all of my options available to me. Okay? I want all of my options available to me on panic moves. Loney from Phoenix. Nice to meet you, buddy. How you doing? Where are you located? Are you North Phoenix, Mesa? Everyone seems to be in Mesa for some reason. James, I do have a Twitter at RealCryptoTrade is my handle. I'm not super active on the Twitter, I'll be honest with you, but I probably should have posted something when I saw the market tanking, but I did not. I should give Frederick my Twitter. Talk about setting stop limits. Shaitan from India, welcome from India. Actually, we have 70 colleagues in India from my office, so and the owner of this company is Indian, and so is the CTO. So, yeah, there you go. I know some Indian people. Talk about setting stop limits. I thought I set mine properly, but it never executed when Bitcoin fell. I'm using Coinigy. I actually don't use Coinigy, so I'm gonna have a hard time. With that, to be honest with you. But one thing I've noticed with most of these exchanges is they don't have market orders. So here's the thing. If you are on an exchange that does not have market orders and you're trying to set a stop loss in a panic situation or a potential panic situation, you're going to have a difficult time. So let me explain what a market order is and what a limit order is. Okay. A limit order is where you agree. Let's say we want to put a stop loss. We're going to use stop loss as our example. If you want to have a stop loss set for $10, you say, okay, I'm going to have a stop loss set for $10. And that means that if it gets down to $10, it's going to sell you at $10. What happens if you set a price limit for $10 and it goes to $9.99 and jumps 10? It never gets to 10. 10 never gets touched. No one puts an order in for 10. Your order is going to sit there. Your order will sit there and do nothing. So if you can't set a stop loss at a market order at a certain price, and you have to set a limit order, you need to set that limit order very low, because if it starts jumping levels on you, your stop loss could get jumped, and then then you have a sell order open on the market, but the market's well beneath you. So that's kind of how that works. Working channel, live in East Mesa. I'm in North Scottsdale right now. It might work. Nice to meet you, Loney. If we get some guys, maybe we'll have like a little meetup sometime and talk cryptos. I know there's another guy out of Prescott. It's a little far for us, but maybe we'll find some more Phoenix guys. Bradley, hey buddy, how you doing? Bradley's in the Valley as well. He's the other guy I was thinking of. Long time no see, Bradley. Nice to see you again. I see you check in when the market tanks. Your boss bought 10 Bitcoin and 300 Litecoin after I explained the technology this week. Yeah, Bitcoin, go back in his office and tell him to sell. Because if he bought this week, that means he's not that far down. And if it gets to 1200, you're going to get fired. And tell him to subscribe to my channel so he can stay out of trouble. Unless he's just rich enough and he just doesn't care. Yeah, long-term holders, this is what happens with long-term holders. Everybody says they're a long-term holder until they're down 80%. So, but you know what? I will say this, a lot of business owners do tend to be very smart people, and if this is kind of like a throwaway investment for him, then yeah, he's probably fine. But anyway, you know, for us that don't have, you know, many hundreds of thousands in the bank, you know, it can be very taxing to see moments like this. And that's why I jump on the live stream. I try to do it during market extremes, basically to kind of help you guys through the panic, and so I can answer questions. Cool, good for him. What happened last night in China due to the executives of Bitcoin exchanges? I actually don't know. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't look at the news. I don't look at news at all. At all. Like I hear my news sometimes from Twitter, when I do go looking for stuff, and from you guys in the chat room. That's kind of how I get my news. But I'm able to be successful because I listen to the charts. I listen to what actually pays my mortgage, pays my bills. Really? They restricted travel? Oh my goodness, get out of China. Would I sell some ETH now and rebuy lower? Depends how far down you are, but yeah, I don't want, you know, I wouldn't hold anything right now, guys. I mean, how are you going to feel if this thing drops to 200? I mean, look, if this thing starts to bounce, maybe you get up there. Looks like we're done going down for right now, obviously. We are seeing a bit of a bounce here. Albeit a weak bounce. If you notice, we have large down volume bars, and the volume bars on this uptrend are low. So 6 minutes left in this 15-minute session, so we could get potentially average volume out of this up bar. So if it pops up here to 262, this could be a good exit point somewhere up in this level. That's my view. Oh, this guy just keeps calling me. Go away. Shut down all Bitcoin exchanges and won't let the executives travel. Wow, good thing I don't own a Bitcoin exchange in China. What are the charts telling us? How low Bitcoin over the next few days? Crypto Anarchy, how are you doing? Go away. Sorry, guys. This is I get phone calls on my computer, and that guy keeps calling me. Yves, you bought it $10 on Bitcoin? Then just hold it. If you bought it $10 on Bitcoin, yeah, you have an extraordinarily large gain at this point. That's a different type of a hold. So, damn it. It's the 9th time this guy's called me. Hold on, guys. Hold on, I'm sorry. All right, sorry guys. Guys, killing me. Sorry about that. That's the problem with doing this from work. Hold on again. All right, sorry guys. Sorry about that, guys. When someone calls you 9 times in a row, I guess you have to answer. All right. TechCrunch, North Korea hackers, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Yeah, they've been hacking. Of course, they've been trying to hack. They can't do money anymore. So, can you go over why Bitcoin may reach 1,200 again? I mean, just the bullet points. I did watch the video, but don't want to quit the live feed to watch it again. Yeah, no problem. I'll do that real quick. A bit of comfort in these dark crypto times. Yeah, Vlad, how you doing, buddy? It's been a minute since I've seen you. Yeah, Maztec, I realized that as I was doing that, but I had to shoot that out to him real quick. You know, I really don't care. I don't think I'm going to get, you know, it's a work phone number too. I can change that at the drop of a hat if I want to. Thank you. Thank you for the heads up, though, Maztec. Thanks for thinking of me. What do you do when you try to short but price goes up? I sold Ethereum at 231 last drop. Needed some Ethereum next day. It was at 255 or so. I mean to say that shorting can be a loss too. When you try to short but price goes up, you treat shorting like any other trade, but you need to be very quick. You take your losses even quicker on a short than you do on a long trade. Yes, you can change Bitcoin to US Tether. No problem. 9 p.m. there, Vlad. Yeah, I pretty much do these in the kind of at about New Time, Arizona, which is apparently 8 p.m. your time. So I do these midday. I will be doing them every day, or if as much as I can, which I should be able to do this every day. So why is Bitcoin going to 1,200? First of all, I don't. Look, no one knows for a fact that Bitcoin's going to 1,200. I don't even know for a fact that Bitcoin's going to 1,200. I can just see there being a case for it going to 1,200. So, you guys better like this video or do something because I'm cannibalizing my Bitcoin 1,200 views right now. All right, guys. So here's the case for Bitcoin 1,200. Bitcoin has had 3 major run-ups, and we had the top of the third one up at 5,000 potentially. I actually thought it would go up to 6,000, and then we would tank after 6,000. One of the reasons being because after this went to 1,000, it cranked up to 1,200, and then it consolidated in a very large base. The reason why it went up to 1,200 is because everyone got in at 1,000, everyone piled into the trade, and then they sold into that. Frenzy. So that's why. That's why I thought we were going over 5,000, because in my mind, the logical move is to let it go over 5,000 and then trap everyone above 5,000 and then sell it off. But with Bitcoin 1,200, the gist of it is this, is that we've had some massive pullbacks, and I generally don't do fibs, you guys know this, but we had a pullback. We had a pullback to this 76 level, this Fibonacci here. And if we draw the same fib based off of this low to this high, We end up at 1,200. If I can get this up there. So, thought I clicked. There we go. We end up right back down here, 1166, $1,200 level. You know, the bottom isn't going to be exactly that. Obviously, it's going to be 1,400 or 1,000, whatever it is. It's going to chop around that area. But I mean, this is definitely a possibility. This is something that's in the cards. I'm repeating exactly what I said in the video. So, you know, like a couple more, like my next video, if you haven't seen Bitcoin 1,200, because you're getting the gist of it here. You know, we already had this shakeout down here to the 3,000 level, which is at the 38 fib level. I mean, it's still in the cards. We get to 6, this would put us down here at 2,000. You know, so any of these could be lows, but if we go off of historical averages, then we have a case for Bitcoin 1,200. And if that does happen, I also want you guys to keep in mind the length of time, or the amount of time that it has taken, or that it took for this to occur, for this big, long, wide cup to occur. This was just under, was it 2 years or 3 years? Just under 3 years, I think. This was just under 3 years. So if we do get a big, wide cup, there's a big possibility we won't see Bitcoin 5,000 for 5 years. So there's a possibility there. So, hey, if any of you guys have Twitters, go ahead and tweet the live stream link out to Twitter. That'd be kind of fun. Get some more people in here. If you guys can do that, I'd appreciate that. Whoa. You say that when you short, I shouldn't wait too long to buy back. Yes. So if you have a loss in short, if you're shorting and you have a loss, you cut those losses extremely quickly. Okay? You cut them extremely quickly, because markets can, at the bottoms, markets can be very violent and bounce tremendously. So that is why you take losses quickly when you short. Now, if you're positive in your short, if you have a profit in your short, you can let it run until you see some kind of extreme movement. But you also take profits much more quickly as well. OMG is shitting a bit lately. Yeah, Mark, pretty much all the altcoins are. And I just went over OMG. What I mentioned with OMG is that they had a 2,600% run up without a major consolidation. They are definitely due a major consolidation, and that's what you're noticing here. So even though we like Omisego, even though the technology's great, even though the team's great, price action wise, it went from, you know, 50 cents to $14. That's a 2,500% move. It needs time to consolidate that move, so this is dead money for a while. Dead money. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Bradley. Why would JP Morgan have just made those huge buys? Same with Goldman. My first question is, how do we know that JP Morgan made those buys? I understand that when financial people spit garbage, they tend to take the opposing position. I understand that. But they may even be going to the red here pretty soon, depending on what happens. And how is it related to North Korea? Bitcoin Jedi, the market in 2013 is not comparable to what it is today by any means. Sure it is. It's definitely comparable. You can compare any market situation to any market situation. You can argue that the fundamentals, or you can argue that the overall that what you can say is that people now accept Bitcoin more often. You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. Bitcoin Jedi for Bitcoin crash to those that would lose 50 billion. You're 100% correct. My question is, how much did it lose when it was, you know, what's to say it can't go down 50 billion? What's to say? It definitely can go down 50 billion. This was down 70%. So Bitcoin already at one point in time lost 70% of its value. Okay? And actually, if you look at this low as well, it lost 70% of its value. It's done this twice. That's what I'm saying. It's done this twice. It's lost 70% of its value twice. This is a bubble and a burst, a bubble and a burst, a bubble and a burst. Okay, you have to recognize anything is possible in markets. Just because you love Bitcoin, just because you're intensely following it, doesn't mean it can't do these moves. Doesn't mean it can't. If it can't do these moves, then it can't go up 300% next time again. Then it can't. If you're going to apply that logic that it can't go down 70% because of XYZ, then it can't appreciate another 300% from 5,000 to 15,000. You can't have it both ways. It's an illogical argument. I agree, Bradley. I guarantee that North Korea is running through Bitcoin. I guarantee that. We're about 90 days away from Bitcoin ETFs. So what a better way to take profits than for another $3 billion in the market to have to buy Bitcoin. What a better time to take profits. And then that ETF's going to go to lows. I mean, it's just these things just line up all the time. More everything consolidates, the more we can accumulate for the future moves. That's true, and I do plan on accumulating, but I'm not accumulating at Bitcoin 3,500 or Bitcoin 3,000. I mean, I may take it for a trade, but I won't be accumulating. I mean, I will definitely take it for a trade. Do you think most of the people that have coins are traders? I think most of the people that have coins and subscribe to my channel are traders. That's kind of what I think. Trump just signed EO 4 hours ago. What's EO? Assuming it goes down to 1,200, I'm super like if this thing actually gets to 1,200, man, I'm not sad. I'm happy. I'm buying a ton at 1,200. I am buying. I think the future of Bitcoin is super bright. I think the future of Bitcoin is unlimited. I think we get to 100,000 Bitcoin. I think we get these crazy high valuations, but I don't think it's in the time frame that some people are calling for. I think it's further out. And but Bitcoin 1,200 would be awesome. At what price would Bitcoin need to fall for me to consider it undervalued? I don't consider things overvalued or undervalued. I actually don't think in those terms. I think in terms of market supply and market demand. I think in terms of buying pressure and selling pressure. That's how I think. All I care is buying pressure, selling pressure. I don't care about the value. Look at Amazon. Look at Amazon. Amazon had horrible value until like today, right? So value is overvalued, undervalued is I don't trade that way. I don't think that way. Could be a bear trap. You know what? That is always a possibility. There's always a possibility of bear traps and bull traps. The only thing I will say is that at this particular moment in time, because guys, look, we're talking here, we're bantering back and forth, and I'm having a great time. I'm loving this. But what we're talking about, we can make decisions here. We can make decisions in the near future, okay? We're talking about a possible future that hasn't happened yet, a dystopian future that, no one can foresee. All we can do is, kind of ascertain price movement and see where it's going to go from there. Right now, I see downward price movement. Does anyone else see something other than that? That's all I need. That's all I need answered, for me to put my money to work. Well, from what I've seen in my trading career, I've seen news fail. I've seen fundamentals fail. I've seen the housing market fail. I've seen everything fail much further than you've ever thought it would fail. All of it. Okay, so look, I put out Bitcoin 1,200. I put it out there. If it gets there, that'd be cool. I would love to buy Bitcoin at 1,200. But all I know is right now I have cash. I'm not buying the market. That's all I know. That's all I know. We can talk philosophical, we can talk all these things, but to put money to work, you have to have a conviction from one side or the other, and right now I don't have that conviction. So should I sell crypto night? That depends on your trading plan. That depends on your outlook. And, you know, look, if your position is to hold Bitcoin for 10 years and you say, hey, you know, Randy, my plan is to hold Bitcoin 10 years and you don't want to sell, I'm perfectly happy with that. No problem here. No problem here, because you have a plan, because you know what you're doing. You are informed, and you have, you know, whether your opinion's right or wrong. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. But you have that determination. You have that mindset. If you are actually going to hold for 10 years, beautiful. If you can ride out a bear trap, you are doing good. That is 100% correct if you can ride out a bear trap. But is it a bear trap or is it a sell-off? That's always the question. That's always the question. And so let me show you what I see as a bear trap. This is a bear trap right here. This is a bear trap in Bitcoin. We've had a big run up. We're in an uptrend. We sold down. We came to you know, new highs. This was a bear trap, and then we came back in, and then we went back to lows, and this is a bull trap. This is definitely a bear trap. This I consider a bear trap. A bear trap would be during an uptrend. You can't trap a bear during a downtrend. If it's in a downtrend, it's going lower, and then the bear is correct. Why would it stop at 1200 even if it goes that low? Couldn't it create an even bigger snowball and take it down further? Yeah, it could. Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, if something changed, typically if nothing changes if nothing changes like fundamentally, and I mean like, say Bitcoin, if we are at Bitcoin 1200 and Bitcoin gets hacked, that's a pretty big fundamental change in Bitcoin. In that case, it most definitely could drop further. It most definitely could drop. But let's go back and look at Bitcoin back when it was down at 1200, or let's go back and look at Bitcoin. What happened? This is what happens to these markets. Okay, I say Bitcoin 1200, but Bitcoin. Is this Bitcoin? Oh yeah, Bitcoin. I'm sorry. Bitcoin 1200 is this low. This particular low took Bitcoin back to this high, which was 250. But look, it was at 250 for like 9 months. So, I mean, it was at 250 for 9 months. It went sideways for quite some time. Okay? And that's actually extraordinarily healthy action. And why do you ask? Because everyone forgets about Bitcoin. No one's going to pay attention to Bitcoin until it starts to move up again. So, if we get to Bitcoin 1200, odds are it goes sideways. Technical analysis predictions are kind of like saying the sun can explode at any time, and you can make a very good case for the sun exploding. Will it happen? Maybe. However, most likely not. So, yes, you are correct. You are correct. Now, look, the reason I'm saying Bitcoin 1200 is because, number one, I see it in the charts. But I've said this time and time again. You don't trade your account based off of Bitcoin 1200. You can only trade your account based off of what you see today. That's the only way that you can trade your account based off what you see today. It's like news as well. You can't trade your account based off of the news. You literally cannot. You can infer that, okay, this movement is because China, and you're probably correct. But you can't trade your account based off of that news because, number one, by the time the news hits, everyone's already acting. So by the time you see the news, more than likely it's already been acted upon. So you trading that is actually not healthy at all. Okay, you should be trading the action because the action will usually go ahead of the news. Does that make sense? So while I can say the sun can explode at any time, I can say with certainty that the sun's probably not going to explode today because XYZ, right? So that makes sense. I can say Bitcoin 1200 because that's down the line, just like I can say yes, the sun will explode in, what is it, 2 to 4 billion years, right? That looks like pretty good. That looks pretty good. All I can tell you is that today, right now, at the right side of this chart, I'm not buying Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin gets down to 3,000, and if I see some buying action, I will be buying Bitcoin. In the back of my mind, I will be ready to sell Bitcoin the second I see any kind of weakness, though. The second I see any kind of weakness. Number one, not because of Bitcoin 1200. Okay? The only reason I even thought of Bitcoin 1200 is because I looked at the weekly chart and I said, okay, this market runs up parabolically Parabolic, for those of you that don't know, means straight the fuck up. I mean, this thing went straight up. This is a weekly chart, so, you know. And all these things pull back. They all pull back. That is a fact. That is a fact. That you can't argue. That's the sunlight. You can't argue that there's sunlight. So anyway, Amazon's a good example. What if Bitcoin went to 50 or below? Would you still buy? Bitcoin 50, I don't even think is a possibility. Don't even think that's a possibility. But if it did go to 50, I would be evaluating fundamentals and other factors. But you know, I wouldn't even think about that. I'm not. That's not even in my mind. I've seen my front porch swing, but I ain't seen no elephant fly. Not to criticize, please criticize. I love these conversations. But how can you only focus on TA when so much what happens is determined by news stories? Interesting question. Interesting question. How can I only focus on technical analysis when so much of what happens is determined by news stories? I'm going to answer this with a question to you, or anyone in this chat room, 92 of you. How do you trade a news story? Answer me that question. Give me a plan on how to trade a news story. Give me an entrance strategy. Give me an exit strategy. How do you trade a news story? And I'm just going to say this as well. Even though price may be moved by the news, it may be moved by the news, the distance of the price movement, the volatility of the price movement, and the volume coming along with that price movement is not determined by the news. It is determined by the market participants and their purchasing and their actions, their purchasing, their volume pressure, where the price goes. That's why I focus on technical analysis. I don't have to know what the news is. You can literally not know anything and trade effectively. That being said, I do like to be informed. I do like to know about the news, and I just keep it in the back of my mind. I will not look at SafeX. We already looked at SafeX. I'm staying out of the market at all costs right now. Bitcoin's been under hack attack since 2009. Never has it once succumbed to it. Good, and that's good. And I don't anticipate that changing. But someone mentioned Bitcoin 50, or what could happen at 1200 that could make it go lower. And you know, without anything fundamentally happening, the technical analysis will rule, and it should eventually go back up. And not when the news is 4 hours old. Exactly. But by the time we see the news, guys, it's already priced in. It's already priced in. We're not that special. You're not that good. I sure as hell aren't that good. So let's keep going here. But we'll be better informed. I am all for information, guys. Post every news story in here. I want to hear every rumor. I want to hear everything. But I make my buy and sell decisions based on if the chart tells me I'm going to make money or not. The news can't make me money. News can't make me money. Unless you're Fox News, unless you're the Associated Press, news can't make you money. Oh, Bradley, you can talk, buddy. Go ahead. Did you want me to pull it up or something? I wasn't going to pull it up in the thing. I got a lot of questions going on. I'm not sure what the hockey stick thing is about. Do I think OMG is a head and shoulders pattern? I like looking at charts. Let's look at charts. That looks like a stick. I'm on the weekly chart. Yeah, it could be a head and shoulders pattern. Why not? You have a double head, though. Typically, double heads are met with double shoulders. Like, actually, this is a double head and shoulders, which is what these hash marks mean. 2 heads, 2 shoulders, 2 shoulders. I did draw a line. This has been on there for a while. Yeah, if you notice, it actually even, if I extend that out, it even failed the line up here. So this was a good time to sell if you were in Omisego. But it could be a head and shoulders. But, you know, like I said earlier with Omisego, it's had a 2,500% run up. It needs a rest. These things can't run forever. They need a rest. They have to rest. Which coin would you most likely get highest gain right after Bitcoin stabilized a bit? That's a tough one, Jan, because there's a lot of, this is the thing. It's, you know, Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to get you some really good gains, and that's really what I'm going to invest most of my money in. But there's altcoins that give you crazy gains. Like really small altcoins can go from 10 million market cap to a billion market cap. And guess what, guys? Those coins are going to happen. What coins they are, it's going to be really hard to know that. I mean, extraordinarily hard to know that. But I will be working on that as soon as I get more time. A lot of your videos, you're looking at charts and drawing lines on a 2-hour chart. Do you switch to other timelines, but 2 hours seems to be your favorite? Yeah, I do. The reason the 2-hour is my favorite is because it gets me a big, I can see a lot of the chart. Like let's go to Bitcoin. I can see a lot of history with the 2-hour chart, but it still gives me kind of granular volume. I really want to look at where volume is coming into play. So I look at the 2-hour chart. It seems to be kind of a nice happy medium. Plus, most of these coins make such drastic moves that I need to see more history. But I also look at the 15-minute chart. I've been looking at this more often just to really catch volume, but I really like to look at it expanded like this. I really like to look at it like this, but I like the 2-hour time frame in cryptos. New stars are far behind technical analysis, I feel. Tony, you are correct. Welcome to the club, buddy. News stories are released timely to amplify natural volatility that will happen anyway. Yes and no. Yes and no. That is the case, especially in the stock market. They've been doing that forever, and I'm sure they're doing it in cryptocurrencies. So think about this. If you have a media empire at your fingertips, and you have a multi-billion-dollar cryptocurrency market, would it serve you well to trade in Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever altcoin, and then put news out that goes with your viewpoint and how you want to make money? Makes sense to me. People do it all the time. Where did I go? Wonder if there's a reason for 2-hour chart view, Vlad. I think I covered that. Insert.com articles, focus. Trump threatens to destroy North Korea, focus on Fed. Bitcoin immune to government control. No, yeah, I mean, just by the title of that article, I can kind of see what it's talking about. Let's see here. Let's do it. All right, Bradley, you got me, buddy. You got me. Barons.com. This is courtesy of Bradley. Aim your ire at him if you don't like it. Threats to destroy North Korea. Focus on Fed. Bitcoin immune to government control. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of Bitcoin. Is it's supposed to be out of government control. That's the entire point, right? That's the entire point. It's an educated guess when it comes to technical analysis. Even though it's historical fact, it tells you a little about the market, volume, price, action. Yeah, the reason why it's a guess, Sean, is because anything can happen at any time. Anything can happen at any time. It's like driving your car, right? It's like driving your car. So when I get to a red light, if I'm the first one going through, I look left and I look right to make sure some douchebag isn't going to come flying through the light at 150 miles an hour and kill my family. Why? Because I like my family and I don't want to die. So even though it's a very, very slight possibility that someone could come flying through the light, I still look. It's kind of the same thing. We know my light's green, we know their light's red, but anything can still happen. I do kind of work in IT. Replying to Bat Smasher. I'm not sure if that's an actual name. I'm saying that completely wrong, but I'm actually director of operations for a web development firm. I do some IT. I do a little bit of support. I do a little bit of programming. Do all kinds of fun stuff. I will struggle in choosing the right moment to sell any device on knowing what a realistic target is for taking profits. It's really gonna depend on, number one, a number of factors. So if you're gonna sell at a profit, number one, congratulations. Number two, in cryptocurrency, you seem to really be able to sell in extremes. So here's an example. We'll use OK because I just kind of really remember that trade very vividly because I traded it really well. So here's OK Cash. So we got OK Cash here in the same live stream that you guys are watching, and we bought it. I bought it right here. I think I bought it right here, and I sold it on this huge price bar. See this huge price bar with a really big volume? I sold up here because that usually indicates a move is over. So I like to sell on big extremes like this. I'll also sell when I see weakness or I see some kind of topping action. So guys, I see 90 of you watching. Thanks for checking us out. Go ahead and like the video if you are enjoying yourself. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm probably going to cut this in about 15 minutes or so, maybe a little sooner than that. I know you'll have to get back to work soon, but at what point would you re-enter the market at previous lows, 29.50 Bitcoin? I would not mind at all getting in for a trade at Bitcoin at 29.50. That doesn't mean I'm holding it for long term. I will be holding it based on the price action at that moment in time. So anytime you're in a downtrend like this, guys, anytime you're in a downtrend, it's you have to be on the defensive. You have to be on the defensive. You can trade bounces, and these bounces can be quite severe, as you see. This one was like a 30% bounce, but you just have to be on the defensive until the market becomes in bull mode again. Talk about using time, which time periods is good for what. I actually spent a lot of time in the lower time periods, the 15 minutes, the hours, the 2 hours. I usually go between the 2 hour and the 15 minute, mainly because that's what's on my charts there. But I like to see where volume comes in. If volume I like to see where the volume comes in. So. You have AP and Reuters in your office. Good for you. Most of us don't. Bradley went on a rant. Bitcoin's not news. It's a government action. Government action just said the UN is going to war with financial institutions that facilitate Bitcoin trades with North Korea. That'll be interesting. That could take us down to Bitcoin 1200. Bitcoin Jedi, not when I'm watching it on live TV. It's not news. Past tense if it's on live TV. That's true. You know, market cap is completely relation to price. Don't think about market cap, guys. Don't think about market cap. It's a temperature gauge, but it's not telling you how hot you're going to be and how much you're going to sweat. It's just a temperature gauge. What news site would I recommend to connect with developers and share future thoughts? I'm in Bitcoin, Reddit, 4chan. I mean, for developers, I mean, GitHub, obviously, if you're a developer, GitHub would be a good place to, but, you know, that's really geared more towards the actual programming of the blockchain itself. I don't really dive too deeply into that. I'm an okay developer. I don't work on production projects, so I'm really kind of I'm not a newbie, but I'm definitely not advanced. So I only care about the charts in the present, but do I ever look back and try to determine why something happened? No, not really. Not really. There's no reason for it. I mean, you know, sometimes, like, yeah, if I'm trying to do an informational video, then yes, I try to inform people about certain things. Like, can't think of a great example, but, you know, yeah, sometimes curiosity takes me, you know, take the 2008 financial crisis, right? I was in cash for the top. I was in cash about 2 or 3 days before it cracked and had that big crack on the Monday after Lehman and everything went to hell. I was in cash because of the price action. And why did the price action happen? Because the big fuckers with all the money sold all of their stock and were selling stock in mass so they wouldn't take massive losses, okay? That's why. That's why you'd pay attention to price action and not the news. By the time the news hit on a Saturday, you were fucked. Phoenix has the worst red light running stats in the country, last I heard. Last I heard, that was also correct. That was also correct. That's not necessarily why I do it. I do it in other cities as well, pretty much anywhere I drive. But I guess I did grow up here, so maybe that's a bias that I have. .NET, no, I don't know anything about .NET. I pretty much program JavaScript, PHP. That's about it. Like I said, I don't work on production projects. Did Bitcoin fall in price because of China, or would it have started to fall in price regardless? You know what? No one knows, man. Those are the mysteries of the universe, and you know, it's up for philosophical debate. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say. Personally, like I said, I thought Bitcoin was going to 6,000 before it fell, but it decided to fall at 5,000. We'll see. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm actually going to go get some food. I took my lunch to chat with you guys, and I'm glad I did. It's been fun. My voice is starting to go out on me. My lips are starting to go numb. Not really, but you know what I mean. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Please subscribe if you like the chat and the channel. Also, wouldn't mind some feedback if I'm not supplying you guys with videos on certain topics. Please let me know. I really would like to cater to my audience and give you guys what you want so the channel can grow. That's kind of how this thing works. So please give me some decent feedback. I would really appreciate that. I'm holding a bit to Liskin Waves. Should I sell and back off the market considering losses? I'm on my way out, Jan. I don't want to rush answer you, but I would definitely be on the defensive and be looking to sell it on pops. Frederick, I'll see you then, buddy. See you in a few days. All right, guys. But you don't want those ways. What do you mean, Crypto Knight? Like ways to grow, but I don't want those ways? Like becoming a hype channel or what? All right, Paul, VTC. Although we're in a market correction, I'm still not going to like it. Eh, not bad. Yeah, it could be good for a trade. Maybe it does something. But keep in mind, if this thing tanks again, this thing could sell off along with it. People like to take profits. If they have profits, they're going to take them. So just be very careful with your trades. Just be very careful with your trades. Yeah, crypto, I thought about hyping my videos a little more. If I don't get traction, I've got to... If I don't get traction, I need to change something. I need to change something to get people interested in the channel. So I'm not going to get too hypey. My focus is based on good quality content, and it's not necessarily referenced in my titles and my thumbnails. So I'll have to figure that part of the equation out. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm going to go eat lunch. Have a good day. I will talk to you later.